What up, everybody? Today I am going to talk a little bit about fearlessness and what it is for me and how it's affected my life. Perfect example of fearlessness. I was probably about somewhere between 7 to 8 years old, and I lived near a place called Spring Arbor, which was on the southwest side of Jackson, Michigan. Lived in this trailer park, and the trailer park was still young but had developed to become a little bit bigger, where they had an old trailer section and then they had the new modular trailer section, and I lived in the new modular section. And at the time, I was a kid. I rode my bikes around the trailer park all the time. I would play with other kids in the trailer park and everything, and we'd go up and get into the gravel pit that was adjacent to the back side of the trailer park, to where we'd walk up this big hill and then get to the top of the hill, and there'd be a path that the gravel pit workers would use to go up to the top of the gravel pit and dump or whatever it was they were doing with the path. And we'd ride our bikes down into the gravel pit. We'd go into the water that would form up in there and find tadpoles and frogs and stuff like that. And eventually they learned that we were doing this. So they cut the road off 75 feet high in the air, to where basically at a certain point, the drop was 70 feet high. And we were going to ride our bikes down and go into the gravel pit. They were like, all right, who's going first? So I'm like, I will. So I started riding my bike down, and I started picking up speed as I'm going downhill. And I hit the drop off and I went flying. And I ended up waking up being escorted underneath a couple of friends. I had one under one arm and one under another, a couple walking our bikes and stuff. My bike's all jacked up, screwed up. I've got cuts and scrapes all over my face. And I'm like, what happened? And they're telling me, well, you went flying through the air into a tree. You and your bike landed in a tree, and you were knocked out unconscious, and we had to throw sticks and rocks at you just to try to knock you out of the tree to get you out so we could get you back home. But that's what fearlessness is letting go no matter the consequences. Fearlessness also is, doing things that other people are afraid to do. Getting out there and quitting your job and going after that side hustle and making it a full-time income. That's a show of fearlessness. So that's what fearless is, and I've used it throughout my years, just not letting anything hold me back from what I want to do. I set my mind to something, I'm going to go out and accomplish it. Perfect example was my bucket list. I didn't have any money, when I took off from Michigan and hit the road with what I could carry. It didn't matter to me. I knew I wanted to do this, and I didn't have anything stopping me. The only thing that was standing in my way was myself. And I finally decided to get out of my own way and take the plunge and do it. That's what it takes to be fearlessness, just letting go of everything that might happen that could be bad, and basically know that you're going to be okay one way, shape, or form, but at least make choices that, help you help yourself. All right. Till next time.